Hello, this is Ty Agar, and welcome to 10 apps to run your business from a tablet. By way of a background for this presentation, what led to this is for those that know me, my name is Ty Agar. I'm an entrepreneur running several businesses, and I get questions from clients from time to time saying how can they uh, operate their business when they're working outside of the United States or even within the United States, but how can they work from anywhere outside of their office? So because of getting a certain number of questions, I thought to put together a presentation, and I thought this would be beneficial to business owners, especially to new entrepreneurs, to how to develop your business where you can operate it anywhere, and that would provide you with additional leverage so you could get more done, create, solve more problems, and generate more profit. So how can you work anywhere? A person may have a concern saying, well, Ty, can I really operate this business anywhere? Is it possible that if I have a tablet that I can literally operate anywhere? You may have a question of, do I have to have an Apple iPad or can I use any type of tablet? Might have a question to say, hey, how much is this thing going to cost in order to be able to do this? You may have a question of, do you absolutely need to have a tablet that is connected to the internet to be able to do this? Is that the only way that you can operate your business? You may have a question of, do you have to be a technology genius to do this? So if you're a person that um, doesn't know how to use a cell phone, for example, or you have a tablet but you use it primarily just for reading or displaying pictures of the family, do you have to really be a person that works in Silicon Valley to be able to run your business from a tablet? Or you may have some other questions. But the point here is, by giving a backdrop, in terms of a business, there's 5 parts that make up every business that we can imagine. The first area is value is created. The second area is once the value is created, the person has to say, hello, hello, I'm open for business. And that's what marketing is. The third aspect is, once people are aware that your business is open, you must be able to explain the value that you've created and why it's beneficial to the person, and so that they will exchange money for the value that you created, and so that is sales. Fourth, you need to, once a person purchases the value you created, you need to be able to deliver the value to that person. And then fifth, you need to have finance flowing whereby there's enough cash flow to go through all of the 5 parts of that business. So with that backdrop, number one, in a business we need a phone. So how can I call from anywhere? One of the things that's beneficial is a service called Google Voice. Google, many people are familiar with the search engine Google. Google has a free voice line that provides transcription of the messages that are left. You can forward the messages that are sent to you, and again, it's free. So what you need to do is, through Google, set up a free email account, Gmail, and once that email account is set up, and through the process of setting up a Google Gmail account, you will receive a Google Mail, you will see Google Calendar, you'll see the whole list of Google services. Google Voice is an add-on. You go directly to the website, google.com/Google Voice. You pick a phone number that's a free phone number, and it allows you again to receive voice calls on that number. And again, the benefit of that number, aside from it being free, is it doesn't depend what service you use for phone. So whether you use Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, whatever type of phone service, a person calls your Google number, that Google number doesn't change, and it forwards to whatever service you're using. Next, if you're, and once you get that configured, I would recommend using an app on your tablet, on your phone, if you will, that works very well with Google Voice. So, for example, here's a $3 app on the iOS or the Apple platform called GV Mobile that takes Google Voice and makes it easy to see all the text messages, the phone messages, the voicemail recording. So incidentally, if somebody calls your Google Voice line, you don't pick up the phone, it actually leaves a recording, and the recording is actually placed inside of your email account. So again, for a $3 app, this is something that will help you. But some people may have a concern of if they travel outside of the US, what's something that they could use? This is a service called Skype. Skype allows free international calling. So this can be particularly useful. So for example, let's say you're a person in the United States and you happen to be in London, for example, and you want to call someone in London while you're in London. Okay? If you just call from your cell phone, the call is going to say, oh, you're a United States person, you're making an international call, and it's going to be a more expensive call. However, if you use your phone and go into Skype to make the call can be free if the person has Skype, or you could pay through Skype for what are called Skype credits, where it allows you to make a phone call directly to someone's home or to their mobile number for a small cost, like $5. You can buy credits for like $20 or $25 and use up the credits as you go throughout the year. So again, this is a way of making your international calls cheaper. You can also use Skype on your tablet to make video calls. So you could use the camera on your tablet to take pictures and or talk in real time in video to someone that's overseas. And again, the cost for the Skype app is free. Next, if you want something a little bit more robust for your phone system, you could use something like Grasshopper. Grasshopper is a phone service that allows you to have a directory structure, allows you to have departments in your phone line where it forwards calls through different areas. It allows you to receive faxes through that line, and the cost for that is something like $24 for 500 minutes a month. So again, you could use Google Voice with Skype, or you could use something like Grasshopper. The next thing is, how do you receive mail? Or more importantly, how can you receive your mail from anywhere? That would be using a service called mail forwarding. So with that in mind, one service that I would recommend is a service called Traveling Mailbox. It essentially allows you to get your postal mail online anywhere. What they do is you set up through them a postal mailbox. When someone mails something to that address, what they'll do is they take a picture of the envelope, and you decide whether you want to shred the mail, whether you want to have the mail scanned, or whether you want to have the mail forwarded directly to wherever you happen to be at that time. So the cost for that is a good price point for that is around $25 a month, where it gives you a certain number of incoming envelopes. So like 100 envelopes, you could have letters addressed to 5 different people from that post office box. They have a number of different addresses available in the United States, and they also will scan a certain number of your letters per month with that. An older system that or larger system is Earth Class Mail. They allow the same thing. They allow and the cost for there ranges from $15 to $51 per month. Plus they have a setup fee plus add-ons like they charge to have your checks deposited. They charge for a resident agent service, so someone can sign off for legal documents or whatever, and then they scan it and forward it to wherever you are. So again, those are 2 options where you can receive your mail from anywhere that I would recommend that you look into if you're going to do a lot of traveling. Next, how do you have appointments? How do you set your appointments? How do you confirm appointments, especially where you can be anywhere? One thing that I would recommend is a service. So this is a website that I'm pointing to called Time Trade. They do online appointment scheduling. The cost for that is roughly $50 a year for unlimited appointments. So instead of sending an email saying I could meet on this date, they send an email back. What this allows, it pulls up a calendar that's custom to that particular person, if you will, where they can pick times, and once they select the time, it immediately shows up in your Google Calendar, booking that time, as well as you receive an email confirming the appointment slot. The next thing is business locations. Where can you meet globally, so where you can discuss your business? One of the things that I would recommend is an app, but it's also a website, is that of Regis. Regis has over 3,000 office space locations worldwide. This app is a free app. What you do is you pull up the app on your iPad, on your tablet. You would say, let's say, for example, you have a meeting in Los Angeles. What you would go into Regis, look for their office locations in Los Angeles. You would book an office, and what that would allow is they would put up your business cards, your stationery. You would literally fly into Los Angeles. When you go into the office space, you have everything set up for you with a desk where you can meet the person. It's also good to know that if you happen to be an American Express card holder, especially Platinum, they offer the gold level of Regis for free, where you can use their business lounges. So instead of going to a particular coffee site or a cafe, if you will, to meet with someone, you could look at the Regis areas without paying a fee. You could go and have a meeting in their business lounge where they have coffee there, as opposed to having a set office. But again, so that could be free to whatever the going rate for the office location that you're looking for. The next thing that's important is a productivity suite. So how are you able to edit documents, to create documents and spreadsheets and presentations from virtually anywhere? Now, the big company in this area is that of Microsoft. Microsoft created the word processing software called Word, the presentation software called PowerPoint, the spreadsheet software called Microsoft Excel. So certainly you could directly purchase the Microsoft productivity suite called Microsoft 365. Now the cost for that is roughly about $100 per year for that. And again, this is different from the software Microsoft Office that you're downloading to one particular computer. This is where you have it accessible wherever you happen to be. So you could pay $99 a year for that, for their home version, if you will, and then build and expand from there. What I would suggest is to look at different offerings. For example, Google for free has their productivity presentation suite, where you have, for documents, you have Google Docs. For presentations, you have Google Slides. For spreadsheets, you have Google Sheets. Again, this is free, available to you. Once you set up the Gmail account, you'll have all access to those things, so you could download that on your Android tablet, or even on your iOS Apple tablet. You can download that as well. However, if you happen to use an iPad, I would recommend using Apple's own version of their productivity suite called iWork, where they have, for documents, they have Pages. For presentations, they have Keynote. For spreadsheets, they have Numbers. It works seamlessly across the Apple platform. All of these are available for free. And again, just like the Google offerings, they export the documents into the Microsoft format: Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint. So that way, for free, you can create documents, and it works well on your tablet. And if someone happens to use the version only use Word or whatever, you can export that into that format. Moving forward, the area of finance. How do you do invoices? How do you receive money from people? How do you track money that's owed to you? How do you send money to people? So, first of all, the first place to start is your own bank's application. So depending on what business bank you use, the majority of the larger banks have some type of app that's available so you can see and write checks directly from your tablet. What you happen to see here is a bank called Simple. What they provide is online banking, whereby, for example, instead of using a teller, if you want to deposit a check, you take the check in front of you, you take a picture of the front and the back, and that check is automatically deposited within your account. So, but the point is, use your bank software as a start, the app for your bank on your tablet to look at checks. Another app that's beneficial is that of Mint. Mint is free. What Mint does is it tracks money that goes in and out through several accounts. So you can budget, you can track expenses. Now, Mint is really designed for the personal expenses, not the business expense. However, many business owners start out with Mint to keep their costs down until they have enough to build to a true accounting type of software that their accountant or bookkeeper can use to help keep track of expenses. But that's definitely a way to get started. Now, how do you send and receive money? The free way is to use PayPal. PayPal allows you, once you set up an account and connect it to your business account, if someone has a credit card, they can use their credit card using PayPal, and PayPal will deposit money into your account. So that's a free way of sending and receiving money. Certainly, as your business expands, you want to get to where you're using, again, true accounting software that's designed for business. So with that in mind, one of the options that's big is that of FreshBooks. It's designed more for consultants, where you can track your time that you're spending on the road. You can send out invoices, and you can allow another person to access your account like a bookkeeper, where the cost for something like FreshBooks is roughly about $30 a month to do that. Then you have a company called Xero that, for a similar price point, about $30 a month, they allow you to do invoices and keep track of expenses as you will. Now, the large company in the space is that of QuickBooks, particularly in the United States. Their cost is $40 a month, and they charge add-on fees for each person you give access to. So if you want your accountant to be able to look at your QuickBooks information, that's an add-on. If you want your bookkeeper, that's another add-on. So that it's much more costly, but more people are familiar with that of QuickBooks. And again, I'm recommending this because this isn't, I'm recommending one of those three of looking at FreshBooks, Xero, or QuickBooks, because instead of having a file that's stored on an individual computer, you have the file, you have things in the cloud that's secure, so you can access it anywhere. The next area, which is a critical area, is your reference vault, meaning your file cabinet, meaning how do you collect the information that you receive so that you can retrieve it when you need it? So having a file cabinet, assuming, I guess you would assume that we're moving away from paper here if we want to operate where we're mobile, where we could be anywhere around the world. But hands down, one of the best applications to have, and this is one of the absolute must-haves regardless of what type of platform, what type of tablet you have, is that of Evernote. Evernote is a digital file cabinet where it stores your information. You can store audio files. You can store documents. You can store websites that you clip on that. The cost for Evernote is free to get started. There is a premium version that's the cost of $45 for the year that allows you to upload more stuff into your file cabinet, and it also provides additional services like it allows you to search PDF files in your account. It allows you to search if you handwrite something and upload it into Evernote. It could search for things that you wrote down through handwriting. So the main thing with Evernote is having a good organization system within your file cabinet and using good tags, which is an Evernote term for how are you going to retrieve the information. So Evernote, you can literally pull up what are notes that I imported while I was in this geographic area, and it will immediately pull that up. It's clearly one of the must-have applications as a business owner, and even just a person that doesn't have their own business. That filing system, the reference system, is absolutely important. Next is the area of your file vault, meaning not just the reference information, but where do you store actual data so you can retrieve it anywhere, retrieve it when you need it. This is your storage area. So as a business owner, there's a lot of different storage options that we have. Most people, when they have a computer, they try to have storage that's connected to their particular computer. But if you want to have storage that's available where you can retrieve it as your mobile, one of the must-haves is that of Dropbox. Dropbox is secure storage that's available online that you can access from your phone, from your tablet, what have you. The cost for Dropbox is free to get started. They may offer you about 2 gigabytes of storage for free, and for the cost of about $10 a month, you can have 1 terabyte of information stored that's available. And that's the similar pricing for, like, Google has the same, about $10 a month to use their storage as well. But this is something that works regardless of the platform, whether you're using an iPad, an Android tablet, a Windows application. If it's in Dropbox, there's going to be a lot of applications that know how to connect to it. The next area is, what is your idea vault? Meaning, as you come up with concepts to create more value, how can you organize it and retrieve it and track it? So that's the area that what typically helps a lot of people is learning how to do what are called mind maps. Because most people are more visual, they can remember pictures, they can remember something that they've seen faster than remembering something that they've heard or something that they've touched. The idea with mind mapping is to create a picture that branches out to different ideas to see what's connected to that, rather than just seeing things in numerical chronological order. So as there's plenty of mind mapping applications. Some people even use PowerPoint, for example, to track ideas. I recommend true mind mapping software. So one of the things that I think that you'll find that works well with a lot of platforms is that of iThoughts. iThoughts is a great visual program, and it actually exports into PowerPoint. So you can create a mind map of a concept and then export it into a PowerPoint presentation, and then convert it into Keynote or Google or what have you, and work from there. Particularly why this is good is I like using mind maps, and I recommend mind maps. So if you read a book, for example, you can create a mind map of the book. That way you can look at one picture and recall what you've read in that book, rather than leafing through particular pages. So it's a much more efficient way of looking for connections with ideas to solve problems for people as well as yourself. The next thing that's necessary, or that can help, is to have a file manager, meaning which apps or what app will you use to read documents? will you use to highlight or annotate documents or sign documents to transfer files? Hands down, one of the most powerful applications is that of Goodreader. Goodreader, again, allows you to take a document, make changes to the document where you're highlighting the document, where you can take the document and type on top of the document, where you can use handwriting or sign on top of the document. And then that Goodreader syncs with for example, Dropbox. So you have a copy, a backup, or the actual file that you worked on that other people can access. However, Goodreader works incredibly well for the Apple platform. If you don't have an iPad, one of the things you might want to use are things that are designed primarily for signing documents. One of the big ones is that of DocuSign. DocuSign is used by a lot of people in finance and realtors, for example, where they will create a form of a contract, and when they go to actually see a client, they actually give the person their iPad, they sign the iPad, the signature is captured, and they move forward from there. So instead of actually using paper, they're able to use a tablet and have the person look at the document, or they can even email the document to a person and allow them to sign the document once they receive the email. But again, it's much more efficient, if you will, to use an application that allows you to sign. So another one that helps with signing was called Sign Now. It's called Sign Now, which allows you to sign and fill PDF and Word documents. If you're not familiar with a PDF file, a PDF is the universal standard for a document where the formatting doesn't change. So if someone creates something in Word, for example, and then sends it to someone else, it may not look the same depending on whether they're using their own tablet or computer or what have you. But if you send someone a PDF file, the actual formatting looks the same when the other person sees it. So CudaSign is helpful for signing documents, and the cost is cheaper than a DocuSign. So DocuSign may be something like $20 a month, where CudaSign is cheaper. And again, there's other ones. HelloSign, $13 a month. Sign Easy, $40 a year. You could look at other ones, but these are some of the big companies in terms of being able to organize files that you receive and sign it, and then build your business that way. The next thing are kind of extra items that I would think that would be extra. For example, when you're working, you want to be able to know what is going on in your industry. And so there's an app that helps to track incoming news that's relevant to your interest called a newsreader. One of the newsreaders that I think are most helpful is that of Flipboard. Flipboard looks like it's basically it has a great design where it looks like a picture, and you flip up each section where it looks like a newspaper, if you will, and you could track your social media, your Twitter, your YouTube, your LinkedIn, everything from that one platform, so to see what's going on. So again, what a newsreader does is it scours the internet. When it finds something that's of interest to you, it brings it there. So imagine getting a paper where instead of you reading, you're dependent on what the newspaper publishes. This is where the only thing that shows up in your Flipboard is what you say you're interested in. So again, a lot of people even use Flipboard or use newsreaders to track every time their name comes up on the internet, that it shows up in there. So again, that's an extra thing that I think would be beneficial to your business, to make sure that you're using a newsreader. And Flipboard is an excellent version of something that I think you'll get a lot of use and benefit out of. Next, an extra thing. While you're operating your business, if you're doing stuff online, you're going to see a lot of different websites. And what this is for, you need a password manager, something that keeps track of all your passwords. So one of the ones that have a tremendous amount of security associated with it that I recommend is that of LastPass. LastPass will allow you to store all of your passwords securely. It allows you can have it set up where when you log into a particular site, LastPass will send a text message to you on your cell phone, and so you cannot access the site without knowing the code that's on your phone. So that way another person can't access your site without having your cell phone as well. It's incredible in terms of the amount of security that it offers. It's also beneficial if, for example, you want to give someone else access to one of your accounts. For example, you have a website and you want to have someone go into your website and make changes, if you will. With LastPass, you could send someone else the access to log into something without giving them your actual password and email. You're sending them a link through LastPass. They click the link and it gives them access, and then after a period of time it automatically disables or cancels that link, so you maintain your security there. So a password manager is an extra that I would highly recommend that you utilize in your business. Next, doing a lot of business, it's helpful to be able to automate what you're doing. So with that, I wanted to present something that you could use to get more leverage, to get more done if you're doing the same activities over and over and over. With that, I recommend an app, going to a website called IFTTT. Stands for If This Then That. What it is you use the website, if you will, to automate certain things, like if you click a particular article that you like in your Flipboard, that it automatically sends the article to Evernote, which is your reference vault. If you receive an email from a particular person, you automatically send the email to your Evernote file vault. If you receive a Facebook request from someone, it captures the picture in Facebook and sends the picture to your Dropbox. And there's a whole lot of recipes is a term that they use in If This Then That to create what you want to do. So things as simple as send you the weather where you are, or when you're in a particular geographic location, send out a particular text message. But you can create what you want. But again, if this then that, it's free to use. The next is, as you're building your business, how do you get more people to help you in different projects that you need, or using the advantage of leverage, of outsourcing. So these there are apps associated with these, but one of the things that I would recommend is a website called Elance. Is one of the largest websites where you post a particular thing that you want to have help in: design, a website, writing, if you will, app development. And different people around the globe compete for that project that you have. So some people use Elance to promote their own activity. They promote what they're doing on Elance. Other people put out jobs for other people to bid for them where they need help. But Elance is a large area where you can find great freelancers to help you in your business. Another area is that of Odesk. Odesk you use to get freelancers to help you in your business. And again, you have a particular job that you need, you post it up on Odesk, and you'll have people around the globe competing for your business. I certainly would be remiss if I didn't bring up the app and the website Fiverr. Fiverr is where people post for jobs that they will do for $5, and things grow from there. But the point is, It's a website where people will do things that are even silly, like they would send a thank you, write a thank you letter, or say something in a foreign accent. I mean, you can go and look at the Fiverr website, which is fiverr.com. But if you download the app, it's where you can post jobs or request certain services that you're looking for and see what people have said that they will do, and use that as a start. And then rounding out the end of this, I wanted to talk briefly about apps that may not work on all platforms. It may depend on what type of business you're actually running and what you're using your tablet for. But there's apps that can be helpful for managing videos and photos, or scanning multiple page documents, or sending faxes, or listening to podcasts, or watching videos. So with that, if your business is heavy in photos and videos, one of the things that I would recommend is that of PhotoSync. PhotoSync wirelessly takes stuff off of your tablet and transfers them, backs them up to your storage, like Dropbox, like your desktop. But the point is, if you have a lot of videos and pictures or whatever, rather than taking up a tremendous amount of storage space on your device, you press PhotoSync, and it helps to categorize it and move them off of your device, so then you can take more photos and videos. Next, if you're doing a lot of scanning, certainly it's helpful to have a multi-page scanner. So one of the things that's helpful is, and I didn't put it up in the slide here because it's that of Doxie, Doxie. It's a scanner that you can purchase that it's a scanner that you can put on a desktop, but it's small enough that you can carry it with you, that you can feed pieces of paper through it, and it scans it. If you don't want to use Doxie, what you could use is something like GeniusScan Plus, which essentially is you're taking a picture with your tablet, and from the tablet it's scanning it. And GeniusScan allows you to take multiple pages at a time and places all of the scans together in one document. And so you could format it. You can do what's called OCR, or try to read the text of what's in the document while it's scanning. So you could search by that. It's very powerful. It works on a lot of platforms. So if you're looking at scanning, I would definitely recommend GeniusScan Plus. I know that faxing is outdated for many of us in business, but many people still haven't gotten rid of their fax machine. If you want to send and receive faxes, one of the offerings that may be inexpensive is that of MyFax. MyFax allows you, again, to send and receive fax. So what you do is you take a picture of a file with your tablet, upload it to MyFax, open the app, type in your number, and it allows you to put a cover page on the item and then fax it out. Or you can also receive faxes at the number that MyFax will send to you. But again, you may or may not use faxes, but if you do, it may be helpful that no matter where you are, you could send and receive faxes. Adding on, many people, again, I mentioned that most people are visual, so that's why the newsreader is helpful, like Flipboard, to go through your information. However, a large number of people are auditory people, meaning they like to listen, they like to hear things. And so what's helpful from that standpoint is something called a podcast. That's where imagine it's like a talk radio, where instead of it's just talking in general, if you will, or talk radio by a particular network, what this is talk that's specific to a particular topic, and you're able to listen to it on demand. So there's a lot of podcasting apps on different platforms. Downcast works with a lot of different platforms, and in addition to the ability of listening to something in Downcast on your tablet, then going to your phone, if you will, and picking up from where you left off from your tablet. Downcast also allows you to speed up the what you're listening to. So imagine you're listening to an hour-long podcast, but you're playing it at 2 times the speed, so the time to listen to it takes a half an hour. And again, the way that they have it designed is the sound is reasonable, so it doesn't sound like the Alvin and the Chipmunks really fast, so you can't really distinguish what the person is saying. So if you do a lot of listening, Downcast is I recommend that for podcasts. If you're watching video, Swift Player is something that's beneficial, where it allows you to look at videos, and it even takes audio as well, but it allows you to play things at a multiple of the speed. So again, imagine you have an hour-long presentation, put it through Swift Player, view it through Swift Player. It takes less than a half an hour, depending on the speed that you're using, so you can view more information. Next, for those that are into music, instead of having music where it's stored on your particular computer or it's stored on your device, this is something called Cloud Beats, which allows you to have music stored in your cloud, in your Dropbox, if you will, or some different other cloud services, and you're able to create playlists and play the music from that. Now, again, for this, you need to be connected to the internet, but what you could do is download the music when you are connected to the internet, download it where it's on your tablet, if you will, and play it then. And then when you're finished, you could delete it. But the point here is instead of using up storage space on your tablet, you're keeping your material in the cloud where you can access it. Next, if you have a lot of videos, there's a service called Media Cloud, so you can have your videos stored up on your cloud drives, and as you need them, if you're connected to the internet, you can view them in real time, or what you could do is download them to your tablet and view them as well. So I hope that you found this to be helpful going through these apps that you have. Hope you recognize that you could run your business utilizing these apps, and noticing that it's not particularly expensive for these apps. So with that, I just wanted to thank you very much for attending this, and let you know that there is another free webinar series that's available called 3 Tools Necessary to Navigate the Coming Economic Storm, which will be held by myself, Ty Agar, over several days. To get more information about that or register, if you go to www.tyagar.com/3tools, or text the word 3, the number 3, and then TOOLS to the number 609-772-4272. Or if you have a QR reader, you could point your phone to the QR symbol that you see right there at the bottom of the slide, and you'll get information to register for that. So with that, this is Ty Agar signing off. Thank you very much for attending. I'll see you in the next video.